everybody. We're very excited about this week. We're going to spend the week with Dr. Josh Axe, who is the founder of Ancient Nutrition and draxe.com. He's a certified doctor of natural medicine, doctor of chiropractic, a clinical nutritionist, a best-selling author of Keto Diet and Eat Dirt and the Collagen Diet. He and I have both been on public television together. Millions of people have read his books, and you're really going to get a different look at how to stay healthy. So, Dr. Axe, welcome to the Brain Warriors Way podcast.
Hey, thanks, Dr. Amen. Excited to be here.
So, tell us a little bit about your journey. I mean, really introduce yourself to our group of brain warriors. These are people who are armed, prepared, and aware, really, to win the fight of their lives, which is living in modern society.
Yeah. So for me, my family growing up, we really didn't know much about nutrition. We knew a lot about fitness. So like even growing up, my mom was my gym teacher in elementary school. My dad was a semi-pro water skier. We all worked out a lot. But when my mom turned 40 years old, I was in junior high at the time, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so this was shocking to us. And during the time, we really lived in what I'll kind of call the conventional medical system. We didn't know about, even at the time, there wasn't a lot of integrative and functional medical doctors at the time. And so she went through all those traditional medical treatments. And at the end was diagnosed as being cancer-free and healthy. Kind of the shocking thing was, though, after she had gone through all of those treatments, she really seemed like she was more unhealthy than ever before. My mom was later diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. Eventually, she got put on antidepressant and anti-anxiety drugs. She struggled with hypothyroidism. And she was really and then digestive issues, chronic constipation. She started having all of these numerous different conditions pile on top of one another. And this went on for 10 years. And finally, 10 years later, I was a year away from graduating and opening up my own clinic here in Nashville. And I get a call from my mom, and she said, "I've got bad news. I've just been diagnosed with cancer again. It's on my lungs." And I met with my oncologist. They want to go in and do surgery and radiation. She said, "What do I do?" And I said, "Mom, I've been really fortunate at the time to have some doctors of functional medicine who I was connected with." And I said, "Mom, let's first talk about this. Let's pray about this." And we did that, and we just felt led to take care of her all naturally. And we didn't say we're not going to completely, disregard the medical system and the doctor's advice, but they sort of agreed to give us 3 to 4 months of these, following alternative treatments. And that's what we did. So my mom at the time was not eating very healthy at all. We radically changed her diet. She started juicing vegetables every single day. She started doing a lot of herbs, specifically did a lot of turmeric root. She did a lot of reishi mushroom and different medicinal mushrooms. She also really focused on reducing stress. Like my mom, when she was a kid, loved horseback riding. So she went out and started horseback riding again and taking more time off and just really focusing on building joy and peace in her life. And we followed sort of this holistic health protocol and the other thing is and I think you can appreciate this, Dr. Amen, from a brain standpoint. The other thing is we really worked on her whole mindset. Like my mom had a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety and worry in her life. And so she really started focusing on building joy. Like her and my dad stopped watching the dark movies on TV. They started watching only comedies. And we did this recording at the time, it was a tape recorder, but she recorded herself visualizing and saying out loud, like, "I'm healed. I'm running on the beach with my grandkids. I'm bringing them to Disney World." Like she started saying all this stuff out loud, and she would play this in the morning and at night. She also said like these healing Bible verses. She'd say those with them. But we followed this protocol for 4 months. She went back to Columbus, Ohio. They redid a CT scan, and we got a call the next day from her oncologist, and she said her exact words were, "This is highly unusual. We don't typically see this, but these tumors have shrunk. Largest tumor was 2.5 centimeters. It's down to 1.2 centimeters. They said, hey, keep doing what you're doing. We want to see you again in several months. Went back again. They shrunk again. And it's been about 14 years since then. But my mom now is in the best shape of her life. Her and my dad retired from Ohio down to Florida. She's cancer free. She's really healthy. And I share that to say, and again, I want to be clear, like, I'm not saying, hey, doing natural things will cure cancer. I'll just say my mom followed a natural health protocol and she healed. And so again, for us, and my mom was a great patient. She followed everything 100%, making her veggie juice in the morning and everything else. But anyways, that's sort of how I got here. And why I started drax.com and why I started the companies I've started is because I really was able to see the transformation in my own mom's health and own family's health, sort of using the term that that people have said many times before me, but food is medicine.
Wow, that is such a great story. When, and looking back, I might not have done this. When I started interviewing for medical school, goodness, it was 1977, 78. There was a book on using visualization to enhance your immune system to help with cancer. And I would talk about it during my interviews, and the orthopedic doctors that were interviewing me just looked at me like I was from outer space. But the brain is such a powerful organ. And if you give it direction, it can help you. But what I later learned is you also have to give it the right food, that food is medicine, or, it's poison. And unfortunately, we're poisoning our society. Your show on public television that just did really well was on the Ketogenic Diet. And I have a fun story. Well, I don't know, fun's probably the wrong word, but I have a granddaughter that has a wicked seizure disorder, had 160 seizures one day when she was 5 months old. And on a ketogenic diet, she was basically seizure free for 7 years. So I'm like a huge fan, and I had to fight like heck to get the doctors to do it because they initially told me there was no science behind it. And I had to say things like, do you read? Because there's a lot of science. But why did you get interested in the ketogenic diet?
Well, originally it was because my mom, so I should have mentioned this, with her treatment program, we were doing no sugar. And it wasn't per se keto specific, but it was, I had started reading the research at the time on the keto diet. One of the things, and I started, seeing this thing that, hey, maybe cancer cells may in a way feed off of fermentation and sugar. And so the only carbohydrates she had were blueberries, beets, and carrots. She had no grain. She had no sugar of any kind. So that's really when I first stumbled across it. And then I opened up my practice that I used to run in Nashville, started working with patients. And then a few years later, I had people coming up to me saying, Dr. Axe, I'm following the ketogenic diet. And I said, hey, that could be really good. What are you eating? And just horrified to hear bacon, butter, and conventional burgers was like all people were eating. And I was on Pinterest, as the social media platform, and I saw this recipe. Somebody posted they said the ultimate keto recipe, and I thought this will be interesting. I went and pulled it up. Here's what the recipe was, Dr. Raymond. It was, you take conventional shredded cheese, you fry it up in butter, you put bacon in the middle, top it off with another fried shell of cheese, and you have a keto quesadilla. So I wanted to write a book on how to do the keto diet the right way, which is 50% of the diet is vegetables, and then you're loading up on healthy fats, everything from avocado to coconut to olives to ghee to nut butters. And so, but again, for me, it was, let's do a diet that's really high in vegetables and fiber, and getting a lot of the healthy fats. But again, I just read the research and was really impressed, especially with insulin resistance, PCOS, and seizures, of course.
So when we come back, let's dive into that more, because it's such an important issue about sugar and foods that quickly turn to sugar, how they damage our bodies and our metabolism. And there's a recent study that was published in JAMA that 50% of the population is diabetic or pre-diabetic, which should just horrify you. I have a father-in-law who died with diabetes. When he was 55, he got diagnosed, and I just begged him to give up the sugar, but he was addicted and basically ended up losing his legs, losing his eyesight, losing his heart, and losing his brain. Diabetes is not something people want to play with at all. So stay with us. We are here with best-selling author, Dr. Josh Axe. We'll be back. We are back with Dr. Josh Axe, author of Keto Diet and Eat Dirt. I'm dying to get into that. Also, the Collagen Diet. He founded the natural health website, draxe.com, which is just loaded with useful information. I'm on there all the time. He's also the co-founder of Ancient Nutrition, provides protein powders, holistic supplements, vitamins, and essential oils. Josh, we've been talking about the ketogenic diet, and you know, my original problem with it is there were so few vegetables. And I think of vegetables as medicine, right? That they have phytonutrients and polyphenols. And I mean, they're really plant medicine. And when you look at the Atkins diet, which is sort of the famous precursor to the keto diet, there's not a lot of vegetables in there. Walk people through, well, why should they try it? You know, who's it right for? Yeah. Who's it not right for? And how do people do it in a smart way where they don't end up feeling deprived?
Yeah. So I think for people to realize, number one, I think for a lot of people, not everybody, but for a lot of people, the keto diet is meant to be done more like a long-term cleanse or fast. It's not a lifetime diet for everybody. Now, I think getting mildly into ketosis for some people is great, but let me give you an example of this. You know this research, Dr. Amen, that, you know, when it was first sort of rediscovered in the 1920s, they were researchers at Johns Hopkins were using this for children with epileptic seizures. But they started noticing, number one, before they found the keto diet, they found that when they had children fast, the seizures went away or got significantly better. They said, we want to create a diet that mimics fasting. Hence, that's when they really sort of discovered the keto diet. They found that high fat, moderate to low protein, and very, very low carbohydrate consumption really helped in improving seizures significantly. With that, I want to say for some people, I think it's good to do 30 days to 90 days, but then just after that, start eating what would be a normal amount of carbohydrates. What people consider normal carbohydrate consumption today is not normal. We should absolutely be getting more fat in our diet. That's without a doubt, especially those healthy fats, getting, you know, a good amount of certain types of protein, especially those collagen-rich proteins, and more fiber. We should be getting more calories from those things and less from the processed carbs. So all that being said, when the people that I think the keto diet is the best for are anybody who needs to balance insulin. And that's at least, you mentioned this earlier, 50% of people are pre-diabetic or diabetic. So I think for those people, this is very good for. Again, we mentioned seizures. We mentioned, we could also mention weight loss. In fact, I think it's the most effective diet if somebody needs to lose weight very quickly and effectively. It's also been shown to be good for PCOS, which, if you really look at what PCOS, which stands for polycystic ovary syndrome, it's really an insulin issue. We could say the same thing for Alzheimer's. It's called type 3 diabetes sometimes, or I've heard it referred to as that. That's an insulin issue. So I think that for most people, balancing insulin is so key to getting healthy. And I think that the keto diet does a great job of that. The people that shouldn't be doing it, I don't think women that are looking to get pregnant, are pregnant, or breastfeeding it's ideal for. I don't think it's ideal as well for people with liver and gallbladder disease. If you think about it like this, different organ systems really have to deal and process different foods. So where your liver and gallbladder are dealing with fat, your stomach and your kidneys and a little bit of liver is really dealing with protein digestion, to where your pancreas, more than anything, is really dealing with carbohydrate consumption. And I think essentially on the keto diet, you are now completely resting your pancreas. And there's a principle I used to teach my patients, Dr. Amen, and it's this: foods don't heal you. The body heals itself. Your body will use foods. This is why the principle of fasting is so powerful. When you completely rest your body and you're not giving it anything, your organ systems now, many of them have a time to regenerate and heal themselves in a way, or cleanse themselves. And so I think that's why intermittent fasting and the keto diet are so powerful, especially for conditions like diabetes or any condition that's related to insulin, because they sort of allow your body to rest and heal. But when people are doing the keto diet, here's the big thing: they got to do it the right way. And that is with loading up on vegetables and those sources of healthy fats.
And when you load up on vegetables, can you stay in ketosis?
You can. It's just doing the right types of vegetables. If your vegetable consumption is coming from those high fiber vegetables that are very low in carbohydrates, like broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, spinach, chard, Brussels sprouts, those types of vegetables, those cruciferous and green leafy vegetables primarily, along with asparagus, cabbage would be in there as well. You can really eat about as many of those as you can and still stay in ketosis. Now, beets and carrots and squash and pumpkin, you need to be more careful with those, because those do contain more carbs in terms of when we're comparing them to other vegetables.
Yeah, no, they make sugar out of beets, so you have to be careful with them. Although beets increase blood flow to the brain, which increase blood flow to all of the organs. One of the things I've seen is for my ADD group, the ketogenic diet is great. It really helps them focus. For my OCD group, it makes them mean, because when you have a lower carbohydrate load, serotonin doesn't get into the brain. So you almost need an insulin response to actually push serotonin into the brain, which is why people get addicted to donuts and brownies and pastries and so on. Not that they're good. I mean, exercise pushes serotonin into the brain as well. But, like I said, my granddaughter's been on, like a hardcore ketogenic diet. And then now she's on a modified version, and it has just helped her so much that carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates, and people don't know that when you eat bread, it actually turns to sugar in your mouth because of the enzyme amylase, that it has a higher glycemic index than table sugar, which is a little
crazy.
On the weird side. Tell us some stories from your book and your public television show, The Keto Diet. Do you have one that stands out?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you an example. I had a patient, and she was struggling with PCOS and hypothyroidism. Her name was Mimi. And the other thing was she had really terribly low energy. She was getting vitamin B12 shots, and she just was sort of tired all the time. Even when she got a good night's sleep, she was still tired. So we put her on the keto diet, and I put her on what I'll call a keto diet that's not we still had her. She could do a cup of berries a day, and she ate beets and carrots still. So those were sort of like where she got carbohydrates. She did vegetables, and then her fat was lots of coconut, and then also lots of olive oil and lots of avocados. And so she started following this diet. Again, was diagnosed with hypothyroidism and and was just really tired all the time. And so we started, and I think I mentioned infertility. I'm trying to remember that, but she also was having infertility, which was huge. Originally why she came in, she started following this diet after just a few months. the biggest thing she was surprised with, in 30 days, she lost 18 pounds. So she lost the weight. 3 months later, she was able to get pregnant. And around that time as well, with working with her physician, she was actually able to get off all of her medication she was on. And so for her, I mean, really in 90 days, and then she had a baby girl, just, 9 months later, after that. So after she was able to get pregnant. So, for me, that's just an example of somebody who was able to experience a breakthrough. I think there's a lot of people out there, Dr. Amen, who, especially fatigue issues that's related to insulin. Insulin I've seen with a lot of patients causes infertility. I've seen it cause low energy. I've seen it cause, brain and neurological issues. And so all that being said, I think that is so key, is that balancing out insulin is just so important. And if insulin's imbalanced, that's actually really going to also affect inflammation in your body and how you feel on a regular basis. But again, I think too, I try and make it easy for people. I'll give you an example. Like, I think, a lot of times I see people have a problem when they focus on all the things they can't have. So if somebody gets on the keto diet and they start saying, I can't have potatoes anymore, or I can't have, my cereal or the bagel I usually have, or whatever it is, versus if they say, you know what? Oh, wow, Dr. Axe or Dr. Amen, they're recommending a high fat collagen smoothie that tastes like a strawberry milkshake for breakfast. When they're able to focus on all the delicious things, because on the keto diet and in my book, Keto Diet, like, I have recipes for keto pancakes, keto brownies, keto fudge, all of these delicious recipes. And so anyways, all that being said, I think eating healthy does not have to be this horrible thing. It can be this magical, amazing experience. I think if people have the right attitude about it, not to say, you going out to eat, it can't be a little difficult, but actually I've even found if I want to follow keto going out to eat, I just get meat and I get double vegetables and I get a big salad and I do, extra virgin olive oil there, and it works out. So anyways, all that being said, I think that if people have the right recipes, that's going to help a lot as well.
So I love the quote from Drew Carey, who lost a massive amount of weight. He said, eating crappy food isn't a reward. It's a punishment. And then I really understood, he got it, that there's so many foods that people love that love them back. And whenever you go to make a choice at a restaurant or at a holiday party, it's just ask yourself that question. Do I love this food? And does it love me back? Because quite frankly, people are in abusive relationships with food all the time. And I don't know if you've ever been in a bad relationship, but I've been in a bad relationship for a long time. And I'm not doing that anymore. And I'm damn sure not doing it with food. So stay with us. When we come back with Dr. Josh Axe, I'm going to have him teach us all about collagen. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. We are talking with Dr. Josh Axe, who's a certified doctor of natural medicine, a chiropractor, a clinical nutritionist. I love the combination of your training. He's the best-selling author of Keto Diet and Eat Dirt. But in this podcast, I really want to talk about collagen and what it is and why people need it. You have a book called The Collagen Diet. Help our brain warriors really understand collagen and why it's important.
Well, one of the things I'll highlight first here, Dr. Amen, and this is something that I've read, read things you've written and watched things you've talked on about this. And this is sort of this balance of omega-3 and omega-6 fats. We want to have certain types of fats in our diet. And it really goes the same with our proteins. Like, there are certain types of proteins or amino acids we want to have in our diet. Now, we know that our muscles are made up of muscle building proteins, such as branched chain amino acids and methionine. However, 1/3 of your entire body's protein is made up of collagen proteins. And so we're talking about the amino acids, proline, hydroxyproline, and glycine. Now, what happens if you have a big imbalance of omega-6 fats and not enough omega-3 fats? There's this level of inflammation within the body. What we're now seeing, or I believe discovering, is that if you have this big imbalance of muscle building proteins and no collagen building proteins, there is something happening. It's creating an imbalance in the body because you have this inconsistency. Our ancient ancestors would have never ate a chicken breast and discarded the organ meats and the ligaments and the tendons, or not made broth out of it, because historically they would have always consumed those things. And so where our ancient ancestors always got collagen proteins with their muscle building proteins, today they're just not getting those. In fact, there's also studies showing glycine, the amino acid found in collagen, supports liver detoxification, and it actually increases lifespan in animal studies. And so again, really, we're talking about some powerful amino acids that are the building blocks of so many areas of your body. Think about this. Your skin, hair, nails, bones, discs, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, fascia, your gut lining, and your arterial walls. Every single one of those areas is made up of over 90% collagen. This will blow your mind. There's more collagen in your bones than calcium and all other minerals combined. It's like, why do we believe that calcium is the most important thing for bones? The dairy company, convinced us of that, when we know that your bones also need collagen, vitamin D, magnesium, phosphorus, all these other things. And so vitamin K too, so anyways, all that being said, collagen is so critical. And the results I've seen in people that have consumed a diet that really supports your body's own collagen production and gives your body collagen to then utilize and create more collagen. I've seen amazing results, especially with skin issues, ligament and tendon issues, for especially joint health, gut health. When we're talking about your gut lining, it's made up of 90% collagen. It's important for the suppleness of our arteries. A lot of times people are getting this calcification of your arteries. You want to give your body collagen because it's so supple. And so anyways, all that being said, collagen is so critical for so many areas, but especially our joint health, our digestive health, and the health of our skin and our general beauty.
So what's the best way for people to eat collagen? Should they be eating the cartilage on the chicken legs that they eat? What's the best way to increase the healthy collagen in your body?
So great question. Since the beginning of time, the ultimate collagen superfood and supplement has been broth. Now, it's different in different areas of the world. If you go over to Japan today, or Okinawa, one of the longest living, or the longest, has more centurions than everywhere else in the world, one of the top things they consume daily is fish broth. When you go throughout history, people drank bone broth, whether it be chicken bone broth or beef bone broth, but bone broth is the ultimate collagen superfood. So number one, get collagen in your diet via homemade bone broth, buying bone broth, or a supplement like a bone broth protein powder, but bone broth. And here's the other amazing thing about bone broth. Bone broth not only contains collagen, it also contains glucosamine, chondroitin, and hyaluronic acid. Those are three things known as glucosaminoglycans, which make up part of your gut lining and your joint connective tissue, but they're also known as collagen boosters. They boost your body's own collagen production. So really, for collagen, bone broth is the ultimate food for collagen. Now, after that, doing a multi-collagen protein powder. Whenever anybody's buying collagen, I always recommend multi-collagen protein, because just like there are different types of antioxidants and different types of probiotics, there are different types of collagen. Type 1 and 3 collagen make up our skin, hair, nails, and bones, whereas type 2 collagen makes up our gut lining. So buying a collagen that has multiple sources. So first off, Dr. Raymond, I would say as a superfood, bone broth should be your number one food. As a supplement, a multi-collagen protein or a bone broth protein. And people can simply go to Amazon.com and just search, bone broth protein or multi-collagen protein and find those there. And then in addition to that, there's a few other superfoods that also support collagen. I would say vitamin C rich foods, especially citrus fruits, broccoli, red bell peppers. So vitamin C rich foods also help. And then foods that support stem cell production can also support collagen. Turmeric contains some really unique compounds, especially turmerone, which supports stem cell production. Adaptogenic herbs, that's the other category. It's reishi mushroom. It's ashwagandha. It's ginseng. These are herbs that really support your body in producing collagen as well. So I would say, I know that's a lot of things I said, but really the keys are that bone broth and collagen protein. Those are two things that are going to make the biggest difference.
Any stories come to mind when you have really increased the level of collagen in a person's body?
Big time. I've got a lot. So just to mention, I'll just share one with my own family member. When my sister always had very thin hair, thin nails, and just her complexion, her skin was never as healthy as she wanted it to be. I had her start consuming a collagen supplement I made. She started using it, and she did what I call a 30-day collagen loading plan, where she made sure she was getting 2 servings of collagen every single day. After just 30 days, her hair was thicker than it ever been. Her nails were stronger and her skin was clear. I had a yoga instructor who came to me and they said, Dr. Axe, I'm a vegan, but she said, I was thinking about doing your collagen because I have this chronic joint issues. My joints just never feel good. And I said, Nikki, hey, go ahead. And I said, you can stay vegan if you'd like, but at least get some collagen and some healthy fat in your diet. So I had her start doing that. After 30 days, she said, my joint pain that I've been dealing with for 8 years as a yoga instructor is completely gone now. So I think for some people, I say this, there are no miracle supplements, but when you are missing something in your diet and you then start to consume it, it can be a miracle. Think about vitamin D. If somebody's not getting vitamin D or sunshine and they start taking it, wow, they can see an amazing difference. If somebody is really deficient in omega-3 fatty acids, they start supplementing it with it. Bam, it's like it was a miracle for them. Versus if somebody's eating wild caught fish every day, they take a omega-3 supplement, they're like, well, it's not really doing much for me. But so many people today are not getting collagen in their diet, and they should be, that when they start consuming collagen, the results they see with their skin and hair, the results they see with their joints. And I'll say the biggest difference I've seen is patients I've worked with that have leaky gut syndrome or any sort of digestive issue. I found collagen to be so important because it is what your gut is actually. Think about this. If somebody's trying to build muscle like a bodybuilder and they're consuming 0 protein in their diet, it's very hard for them to put on muscle. Think about this. You're trying to rebuild your body in areas like your ligaments and tendons and joints in your gut. And if you're not getting collagen, those areas are going to suffer. So I think those are some examples of why I think collagen is important as well.
It's really helpful. When we come back, I want to talk about your book, Eat Dirt. I just thought that was such an interesting title. Stay with us. We're with Dr. Josh Axe. You can learn more about Dr. Axe at draxe.com. His books, The Keto Diet, Eat Dirt, Collagen Diet. He is also one of the co-founders of Ancient Nutrition. Stay with us. Well, welcome back, everyone. We're having a really great week with Dr. Josh Axe, and he has a book called Eat Dirt and a public television special that actually did really well. But I saw that title and I'm like, okay, why is that title on this program? Tell us.
Yeah. So with Eat Dirt specifically, one of the things that I've always encouraged people to do is get outdoors more to start. There's a couple great studies that have shown that when we are outdoors more, especially like children that grow up on farms are healthier and have less allergies than children that don't. People that have pets actually have better immune systems, stronger immune systems and less allergies. And then I started reading a study, and this was from National Geographic many years ago. And the title in National Geographic was Let Them Eat Dirt. And it was all about this tribe of people who had stronger immune systems because the children were playing in dirt and actually eating dirt. And then another study came out of Japan, and they found that when people consume something called soil-based organisms, they're a type of probiotic that live in our soil and actually strengthens our immune systems as well, helps us fight allergies, autoimmune disease, all kinds of different health conditions. And so I was so impressed with this study. So here's the thing. Our ancient ancestors would have gardens, or they would consume foods from their local region. So, when you pull carrots out of the ground, and even after you wash them off, there are still little brown specks embedded in the carrots. Those actually are not necessarily part of the carrot. They are the soil-based organisms that have implanted themselves on the carrots, which actually help you break down and better digest your food. And also they act as a natural immunization to really strengthen your immune system to prepare it for different invaders that your body might be exposed to. This is what makes local honey so amazing. Whenever you buy honey, people have probably heard this, buy raw, local honey. Why is local so important? Because honey contains over 200 different types of microbes that when you consume a tablespoon or a teaspoon a day, when allergy season comes around, your body has literally built up an intolerance to pollen and other things that are in your environment that actually strengthens your immune system. So when you hear, hey, take or honey for seasonal allergies, it doesn't really work if you already have the allergy. It works through, hey, you're consuming it on a daily basis, local honey throughout the year, which then naturally starts to strengthen your immune system and sort of helps your body adapt to the different things you're exposed to in your surroundings. So in Eat Dirt, I really get into how to heal leaky gut, how to overcome autoimmune disease, and really generally just strengthen your gut and your immune system. And again, one of those tips is being outside and then consuming soil-based organisms, consuming foods from your local farmer's market where you're getting some of those really unique probiotics there as well. And so anyways, that's a big basis of the book. And we saw great results. I've had so many people, especially patients with allergies and autoimmune disease, who have started following the advice in that book and said they really couldn't believe the breakthrough that they saw in their health after following some of the advice there.
Well, when you get your gut healthy, and it just made me think of one of my daughters who's like a lot of mothers. She was so freaked out by germs that she really didn't want my grandchild playing in the dirt. And so she always had hand sanitizer. And I'm like, don't do that. Because not only the toxins in hand sanitizers that people aren't talking about, but also limiting the diversity in their microbiome, which can hurt them over time. You mentioned raw honey. When I was an intern, no, actually I was a third-year medical student, and there was the idea that raw honey could have botulinum toxin in it. And the doctor, there was a child who had floppy baby syndrome. And I'm like, aren't you going to do an MRI on his brain and find out that his brain's okay? And he said this to me. He said, the mother had raw honey. I think he was exposed to botulinum toxin. I'm going to teach you how to not order unnecessary procedures. And I remember being really anxious about the fact that he was not looking at the baby's brain. That night, it turned out he did not have botulinum toxin. He had a choroid plexus tumor, a tumor in one of his ventricles, and that night he had a stroke that permanently blinded the child. And it was so instructive to me. Well, how the heck do you really know unless you look? Which is one of the reasons I'm so passionate about imaging. But what about the idea of, people, they get really concerned about raw milk and raw honey because of the potential toxins in them?
Yeah, I think there's a few things to think about there. And again, I'm not recommending you go and buy it from somebody who is, selling it out of their bathtub. But I do think that there's a time and a place for getting things raw and especially getting things local. I'll just say this. Since the beginning of time, or up until 100 years ago, for the most part, most people consumed raw milk. Most people consumed raw honey. I mean, we've been doing it for a long time. I think we just have to be conscious of over-sanitation. There is no doubt that the overprescription of antibiotic drugs today, has caused a lot of harm in a lot of people. Not to say, though, they haven't saved lives. Like, I think this is where we run into issues a lot of times with the medical system, is that we've taken a drug that can save lives when somebody has a serious infection, but we start using it for basic childhood issues that children should just naturally be able to fight off on their own. So anyways, all that being said, I think buying from a reputable company, I buy raw honey at Whole Foods Market. I buy Manuka honey from Whole Foods Market. So you can buy raw honey in many, many places. In terms of the raw dairy, it's an interesting one. I've bought raw dairy from, and by the way, I co-own with my business partner, Jordan Rubin. I own 5,000 acres of certified organic land. I own a 1,000-acre hemp farm where we grow CBD products in Tennessee. And I have 4,000 acres in Missouri where we actually have a dairy fermentation facility. We actually grow mushrooms there as well. We create essential oils. So we have a really amazing facility. So that being said, I've been really close to the raw dairy, this raw dairy question for a while. I think when you're following the right practices, raw dairy doesn't have to be scary. But again, it's a good question because it's hard to know, right? It's hard to know. Like, if you're not raising the animal yourself and milking it and drinking it right after, how is somebody going about preserving that milk? And so is it warm for several days before they sell it to you? So in my mind, if somebody is milking a cow and drinking the milk, as people have been doing since the beginning of time, it's fine. But I do think and I would say this, I think the media blows up anytime there is a raw milk issue where somebody has an issue. It's blown way out of proportion. To my knowledge, I haven't really seen people, and if people have, the number is so minimal compared to the health the damaging health effects of pasteurization, homogenization. But all that being said, I've seen a lot of people be able to consume raw dairy products and especially raw honey products and have no health issues whatsoever. That being said, I don't recommend raw honey for children under the age of 1, when there is that risk.
So how can people learn more about your work? I know they can go to drax.com. It's just an amazing resource with, I guess, thousands, maybe tens of thousands of articles on it. They're thoughtful. They're well referenced. It's a site I've gone to many times when I want to learn something new. How do people connect with you?
Yes. So I would encourage you guys, one, check out some of my new books. I just wrote a new book called The Collagen Diet. And if you're a person watching this and you're really struggling with any type of digestive issue, joint issue, or beauty issue, and you want to really improve your health, you can go to Amazon.com, your local bookstore. Check out my book, The Collagen Diet. If you're looking to improve your brain health and your blood sugar and weight loss, check out my book, Keto Diet. Or just go to Amazon and just search my name, Dr. Axe, Dr. And then Axe is AXE. So just go to Amazon.com and search Dr. Axe. You can find a lot of the different things I've put out there over the years, see through everything from collagen to bone broth, other supplements, and my books. And then also, hey, if you've got a health problem, you can also just search my name on Google. Search Dr. Axe hypothyroidism, Dr. Axe MS. And I've written a lot of articles on these things as well. And if you're on social media, you can definitely follow me on Facebook there or watch my videos on YouTube. But I'd say starting off by getting one of my books, either Keto Diet or Collagen Diet, is a great place. I do want to say, Dr. Amen, as well, I know you've read some of my articles over the years. I have read many of your articles, your books. I've watched you on your PBS show was one of the first I actually watched, was just so impressed with what you've done over there. And just so you know, I'm just so on board with your mission, especially helping people with their brain and neurological health, because it's just a big deal. We are at war today. There are so many chemicals and things we're exposed to, and even social media today, being on our phones all the time. None of this is good for the brain. So I love your balance. I love your perspective and helping people do what we're doing together, which is using food as medicine and helping people live better and healthier lives. So I'm just so honored to be on today.
Well, thank you so much. Let's be friends. We have the same mission, which is to help the world get healthy. It's not going to happen from the government. It's really going to happen from people getting healthy and then sharing it with other people. So tell your friends about Dr. Axe. Tell them about the Brain Warriors Way podcast. We will be back. Thank you so much, Josh.
Hey, thanks, Dr. Amen.
If you're enjoying the Brain Warriors Way podcast, please don't forget to subscribe so you'll always know when there's a new episode. And while you're at it, feel free to give us a review or 5-star rating, as that helps others find the podcast.
If you're considering coming to Amen Clinics or trying some of the brain healthy supplements from BrainMD, you can use the code podcast10 to get a 10% discount on a full evaluation at amenclinics.com or a 10% discount on all supplements at brainmdhealth.com. For more information, give us a call at 855-978-1363.